The palace of High Varelia was unlike anything Nathan Graves had ever seen. Towering spires pierced a violet sky, and the walls shimmered with a material that bent light, humming faintly with alien energy. As a human servant, part of the first integration program between Earth and the Varelian Empire, Nathan was assigned the lowest of duties: floor scrubbing, waste disposal, and delivering packages without being noticed. And for the first 2 months he did just that. "Keep your head down," his supervisor had warned him. "The Varelians are noble, proud, and you're replaceable." He had no interest in proving them wrong. Until that morning, Nathan had been instructed to deliver a sealed crystalline case to the storage chamber near the Hall of Echoes. But Varelian architecture was disorienting. Doors shifted, hallways twisted, and signs morphed their symbols in real time, based on species perception. Nathan's translation implant tried to keep up, but it wasn't perfect. He took a left through an archway glowing in soft pink, then a right into a corridor filled with floating orbs. Then, a heavy double door stood in front of him. It glowed faintly with royal seal runes, but he didn't recognize them. This must be the place, he thought, not noticing the pair of ceremonial guards missing from their usual post. He stepped inside. The doors sealed behind him with a whispering hiss. The room was vast. Pillars of glowing crystal stretched to a domed ceiling etched with constellations Nathan didn't recognize. A warm, fragrant mist filled the air, and at the far end, atop a raised platform, was a throne sculpted from golden alloy. On it sat her, the alien queen, Zaria of Varelia. Tall even when seated, her 4 slender arms rested in casual grace across the throne's arms. Bioluminescent markings danced across her blue-violet skin like living tattoos. A delicate crown of neural filaments shimmered above her brow, indicating active thought, and possibly mild annoyance. Nathan froze mid-step. He had just barged into the royal chamber. "Hi," he stammered, instinctively lowering to one knee. "Forgive me, Your Majesty. I was delivering a—" "You are not Varelian," Zaria said, her voice like wind chimes in a storm. "No, ma'am. Human. Servant class. I must have taken a wrong turn." "You entered uninvited into the Queen's inner sanctum." Her tone deepened. The neural filaments around her crown shimmered crimson. Panic surged in Nathan's chest. He dropped the package, raising both hands. "It was an accident. I swear on my life." "Swearing upon your own life is convenient," Zaria said, stepping down from her throne. "But we judge by action, not words." She walked toward him with the grace of a dancer and the presence of a thunderstorm. Her eyes, 2 pools of deep silver, locked onto his. Nathan closed his eyes. This was it. He was going to be vaporized, exiled, maybe fed to some noble's pet worm-lion. Then, silence. Repeat. Zaria stood inches from him. One of her upper arms extended, brushing against his cheek. Not a slap. Not a strike. Caress. Her eyes narrowed with curiosity. "You did not tremble at my approach," she said quietly. "Even my ministers bow until their bones creak." It was too busy thinking about dying to remember how to kneel properly," he admitted, voice dry. Long pause. "And—" She laughed. Not a polite giggle or royal chuckle, but an actual laugh. Echoing, musical. Nathan blinked. Zaria tilted her head. "You are the first human servant to ever step into my chamber and survive more than a moment. You intrigue me. I'd prefer to intrigue you, from a safe distance, preferably through approved courier routes." Another laugh. "You know," she said, circling him, "our legends speak of chaos bringers. Mortals who defy order and expectations. Perhaps the universe sent me one in you. Nathan tried not to twitch. That seems like a cosmic logistics error. Suddenly the doors burst open. Guards poured in, plasma staves raised, ready to strike. "Hold!" Zaria commanded, lifting a hand. The guards froze, eyes flickering between the human and the queen. "He has committed no offense," she said. "He is under my protection." Nathan's jaw dropped. The guards exchanged uncertain glances, then lowered their weapons. When they had exited, Zaria turned back to him. "I could have you sent back to your world," she said. "But I won't." "Oh, great. Why?" "Because," she said softly, "I haven't laughed in years." From that moment everything changed. Nathan was reassigned, though no formal announcement was made. Instead of cleaning ducks or hauling supplies, he was now summoned to accompany Queen Zaria on various private walks through the palace gardens. He sat beside her as she listened to galactic court music. He read human poetry aloud while she studied his expressions. The nobility whispered. Her ministers raised objections in polite tones. But Zaria waved them off like smoke. Weeks passed. Nathan found himself growing comfortable. Sometimes too comfortable. Like the time he made a joke about how all the palace food tasted like spicy marshmallows. She had laughed so hard she choked on her drink and nearly dismissed her entire kitchen staff in fury. But that comfort was two-way. Zaria began to speak of her loneliness, how the crown weighed heavier after every treaty, every execution, every betrayal. Her people revered her, but none saw her. Not like Nathan did. And one night, in the high gardens beneath twin moons, she said, "I envy you." Nathan blinked. "Me? A no-rank Earth-born ex-plumber. You're free to feel. To laugh without consequence. To touch the world without gloves." Then gently she reached for his hand. "I don't want gloves between us anymore." Of course the court exploded. When the news leaked that the queen was seen holding hands with a human servant, scandal lit the imperial halls like wildfire. Assassination attempts followed. Not against Nathan. Zaria's guard was too powerful, but against her credibility. Ministers plotted, old nobles rattled their chains, and even some allied worlds issued veiled threats. Zaria stood her ground. "I am queen," she declared in front of the great assembly. "Not a prisoner of their expectations. I choose who enters my chamber. I choose who sits beside me. And if it's a human," one elder sneered. She raised her chin. "Then he is no longer just a human. He is mine." It wasn't a fairy tale. Not exactly. Nathan had to undergo months of cultural indoctrination. He trained with etiquette masters, endured diplomatic simulations, and was nearly crushed by ceremonial armor twice. But through it all, Zaria stood with him. Their bond wasn't forged in politics or perfection. It began with a mistake. Wrong door. A frightened servant boy. And a lonely queen who hadn't laughed in years. Epilogue. Years later, when tourists visited the Palace of High Varelia, they often stopped at the grand mural in the main hall. It showed Queen Zaria, radiant and proud, standing beside her consort, a human man with calloused hands and a half-smile. The inscription beneath read, "Some doors are not mistakes. They are destiny in disguise."